Now, before we start any type of tarot work or any type of spiritual work, you must always, always, always protect your energy. So I've explained this in other videos, how you can do this. This is entirely up to you. It's something that you will develop on your own. For me, I just ask to be surrounded in white light of God's love and divine protection. I invite all beings of the light to be with us here today, and all other beings are banished forever. Even though you say banished forever, you still have to ask them to stay away every time you do any work with the cards. And a lot of people don't do this, and this is the reason why a lot of people find themselves either walking away and forgetting about all of this guidance because they start attracting spooky stuff into their lives, or they become crazy and start believing foolish nonsense. And there's a lot of that out there right now. Sorry, that's my opinion, but it's true. It's true for me anyway. So I already pulled a card from Carolyn Miss's archetype deck. I really like this deck, especially when you're just doing general readings, because let's face it, if you know anything about the tarot can mean a gazillion different things. Each card has a million meanings. And I'm not just talking about what the book says. I'm talking about what your guides are saying, where they're guiding you to the symbol, like what symbolism on the card is rising off the card to meet you and to guide you to the message that is meant for you. So let's get started. So I went ahead and I shuffled the cards and I threw a dice. So the number 1 comes up. I only do this because it's just kind of fun to do, because instead of me just like pulling up cards, you kind of leave it up to fate, if you believe in fate, but it's just kind of a fun thing I do. So 1. So we're going to deal out of this deck. So let's put these guys aside for now. So let's see what we got. Justice. The Lovers. 10 of Wands. The Devil. Wheel of Fortune upside down. Don't be afraid, no big deal. Judgment. Let's stop there for a minute. So interesting. We pulled the Victim's card. I'm going to read you the front of it. The light attributes for the victim, it prevents you from letting yourself be a victim or victimizing others. So that's the light attributes of the victim. The shadow attributes, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. There is a lot in this spread. It's quite loaded, actually. The first 2 cards that come to me right here are Justice and Judgment. You know, as a species, we are the only species, actually, I believe. I don't know this because I don't know everything, but it seems to me that we play so many different roles according to other people's business and our own business. I didn't say that very well, but it's like we're the judge, the victim, and the punisher all rolled up into one. And the whole, I think what everybody is searching is not like, it's love, but that feeling of being whole, being completely connected. And most of us don't feel that way. Even people who are really spiritual, you have moments of that separation feeling. You know, when the world is kind of going to shit and people are being so horrendous to each other over something so silly, you think, I totally and completely am losing my faith in humanity. We can slip into the victim role really, really easily. We can be a victim that is completely for self-serving ways, because we learned to manipulate others as children to get what we want. Even if it's negative attention, it's still attention. But the whole idea is to free ourselves from that mentality so that we can move forward clearly. And Judgment tells us to look back and to forgive ourselves for all of the bad choices that we made, because we really did the best that we could. Whether or not you're a recovering addict or alcoholic and you carry a lot of guilt and shame because of that, you did the best you could when you were under that influence. You still did the best you could. You're still here. You still survived. And I think that that's really an important point. So the 10 is saying, take all of this shit that you're carrying forward and rearrange it. Rearrange those wands so that it's easier to heal, So how many times do we have to pull up the past and judge it and sentence ourselves once again to whatever punishment you feel is worthy of it, over and over and over again? You know what I mean? Like, holy crap. That's where the devil comes in. The devil is actually a great card. It's a great card to have in the spread because it is really emphasizing the fact that our playing small, our self-victimization is really keeping us stuck and keeping us locked in karma that we've created, but we created it for a reason. We created it so that we could learn the lesson and internalize that lesson and then let it the fuck go. Pardon my language for people that are sensitive to that, but it just feels really passionate to me because it's also unnecessary, right? So take a look at your life. Do you play the victim? Sometimes you're very conscious of it. I know I've done it before where it's like, oh, boo-hoo, poor me. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not the best tarot reader in the world. I'm not this, I'm not that. But you know what? I could be the best tarot reader in the world to somebody. Just because you don't connect with everyone doesn't mean that you fail at what you do. That's ridiculous, and that is low vibe, and that is playing the victim. But it all comes from programming too. We were programmed to believe certain things, and beliefs are really just stuff that we tell ourselves over and over and over again that eventually becomes truth. We learn by repetition. So why not take all of these self-deprecating, all of this nonsense that we tell ourselves and switch it to positive things. So when people say let it go, sometimes it used to trigger me because I'm like, you know what, you don't live my life. How am I supposed to let this go? It was huge. But like, it's actually good that it triggers because it makes you think about it. So triggers are good. So anything that triggers you really directs you to a place within your life that is unhealed and it needs to be healed. So yeah, really powerful cards. Let's just pull another one and see. Okay, so we have the 6. There we go. So we're talking about the past, the nostalgia. Sometimes the past is good to revisit, but just don't live there, right? That's where you get into trouble. Living in the past. There are some helpful things in the past. We can go back in the past, especially if there's an apology that needs to be made. So one thing I'm going to caution you on this though, when you make an apology and it's not accepted by the other person, it doesn't mean that the apology has failed. The apology is for both of you. It's up to the other person to decide that they're going to stop playing the victim and stop punishing and judging and carrying guilt and shame or carrying pain and hurt. That's up to them. The fact that you made the decision to go and to apologize and to try to make things right clears the slate for you, and then you're going to see this guy turning upright, because that's what it's all about. It's all about lessons. There's nothing so complicated really about life. It's all about just being able to look at it through an objective lens. And that is what the tarot offers us. I don't tell people what they're going to do in 6 months from now. I don't make predictions. I might make some projections, but the path is your own. And this is really important for people to understand this. This is not going to tell you what you want to hear. If it does, then I haven't done my job. So many people say, oh, that just confirmed everything I already thought. And I'm like, wah, wah, wah. That is not why I do these cards. I want to open wounds. I want you to, not open wounds, but I want you to take a look at your life through a different lens and not get validation or confirmation on something. Because really, how long have you been stuck in these ways? And now I'm just validating that you're stuck in these ways, so you can continue to be stuck in these ways. It's okay to have the validation, but I also would hope that I can offer some light on something that you've kept hidden in the dark corners of your psyche. So yeah, I kind of went off the track there a little bit, but yeah, are we playing the victim? It's a good thing to ask yourself. See? Playing the victim. This is what happens. When you play the victim, you have trouble in relationships. Relationships come and they go, and they're all carrying the same type of theme. They're the same type of people because you attract the same type of people into your life when your energy or your vibration or your frequency is a bit low. And I don't mean that from an ego point of view, like I have high vibrating energy and you have low vibrating. That's bullshit. That because we all go up and down and in and out with our energy. But all I'm saying is that with these cards are trying to say that the work needs to be put into getting yourself out of that unhealthy victim mentality and into a higher vibrational space so that you can be a better person and to attract better things into your life. And there's your validation. Because when the Queen of Cups is upside down, most likely almost always, she's using, if it's a person, well, it can be obviously a queen can be a person or an attitude. She is usually manipulative, or she's got a big honkin' dose of the poor me's. Yeah, this is all on point about victim, playing the victim, not seeing the positives in your life, not seeing the opportunities in your life, you know, being stuck in this kind of, it's like a hamster in a little cage, just going around and around and around. You're not getting anywhere, not doing anything, becoming small and petty and comparing yourself to other people, you know, filtering yourself up or not. You know, I was doing yoga with Adrienne last night. I feel like this is really important. And she was talking about loving your body no matter what your body looks like, whether it's, you know, big or small or strong or weak. She was mentioning about how we are not grateful for this poor little body that carries us around everywhere. We want more. We want perfect. We don't want any cellulite. We don't want, you know, any roll here or whatever. That is not doing us any good. In fact, what it does is it pulls our vibration down low, and then we get stuck even further into this victim, poor me, I'm not good enough, no joy kind of life. I'm all about joy. Yeah. Communication, talk about it. Take the 8, the karma. Draw better vibrations into your life. Draw better things into your life. And then walk away. It's hard. You know, I could go on and on. I'm probably dealing too many cards here, but this is where we want to be. This is a great queen. Practical, healthy. She loves herself no matter what. No bullshit. None of this poor me. I'm just as good as everyone else. Not better, not worse, just as good. You'll know, you know, if you follow me enough, you'll know that I'm all about being authentic. I think I've always been authentic on the outside, but on the inside, there have been moments where perhaps I wasn't as authentic as I preach. So what I mean by that is that I do have moments where I do compare myself to other people. I do, you know, have moments where I look at myself and I see my 53-year-old face starting to fall and the age lines coming and the slowing down of the body, the not being able to do things that I wanted to do, the not being able to fit into the social media narrative, you know, the cool chick with all the flashy stuff, with the digital skills, with the expensive crystals. I just don't have the money to pay for that stuff. So, and I don't even think it's really necessary. But what I do have is awesome. So I guess the point is to focus on what you do have. You don't have to have all this stuff, this outside stuff to get validation. The best validation, the most authentic validation comes from within. So anyway, that's all for today. I've preached enough. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.